Bonjour! Today we are going to practice our irregular verbs in French. So, good luck! Now, today we are going to practice conjugating irregular verbs, also called as third group verbs in the present tense. Now, contrary to regular verbs ending in ER and IR, though there are some IR irregular verbs, but that's another story, irregular verbs do not follow a conjugation pattern. Irregular verbs include those ending in RE, such as apprendre, which means to learn, or voir, OIR, such as vouloir, which means to want. Some ending in IR as well, like I mentioned before, such as courir, to run, as well as aller, to go, which, although ending in ER, is highly irregular. So I do advise you to learn how to conjugate the verb aller in different tenses. Irregular verbs can have 4 different types of endings. So let's have a look at the first type of ending. Sometimes you will have these endings. So for each subject pronoun, such as je, tu, il, elle, nous, vous, il, elle, you have different endings. For je, you have S. For tu, you have S. For il, elle, or on, you have T. For nous, you have ONS, which is actually always the same ending for nous. For vous, it's EZ. Again, same ending except for verbs such as être, where it doesn't end with EZ, but most other verbs do. And for il and elle, ENT. And again, it's definitely always the same ending. So this is the case for verbs such as courir. So for example, if we conjugated courir, you could say je cours. So it has an S at the end. I run. Tu cours with an S at the end. Il, elle, ou on court with a T at the end. Nous courons, ONS. Vous courez, EZ. Ils courent, they are running, ENT. Okay? Now the second type of ending for irregular verbs, and this is why it's so hard to conjugate an irregular verb, because not all of these verbs follow the same endings. Sometimes you've got the endings I've just told you, and sometimes you've got these ones. So have a look at this. For je, S. For tu, it has an S. For il, elle, on, it has a D. For nous, again, ONS. For vous, EZ, and for il and elle, ENT. So you can see some types of patterns here. Now, this is the case for apprendre, to learn, or prendre, to take. For example, if we conjugate with these endings the verb to take, prendre, well, it goes like this. Je prends, okay, and we add an S, I take. Tu prends, you take. Il prend, have a look at the ending. S for tu, il is just the D, prend. Nous prenons, and this is where it starts becoming quite hard. Not only does it end with ONS, okay, we know that, but you've got to change the stem of the verb. So you don't say nous prendons, okay, it doesn't work. It is nous prenons. So the lesson I can only teach you here is that take a few irregular verbs, with you handy that you use every day, and then learn what the stem is of those verbs, such as prendre becomes prenons in a nous form, and prenez in a vous form, so vous prenez. And for they take, ils prennent. The third type of ending for irregular verb is quite tricky, and you will see that for vouloir, to want, and pouvoir, to be able to. Well, it has for je an X. For tu, it has an X at the end. For il, elle, and on, it has a T. For nous, again, ONS, and that becomes slightly easier. For vous, remember the ending? EZ. And for il and elle, it has ENT. So very briefly, if you wanted to conjugate vouloir, to want, in the present tense using the endings I've just given you, it will be je veux, completely different from vouloir. Can you see how transformed it has been, or it is, from vouloir to je veux, I want. Tu veux, with an X, you want. Il, elle, on veut, he, she, one wants. Nous voulons, and then it transforms into a little bit the same as vouloir. Nous voulons, we want. Vous voulez, you want. Il and elle veulent, they want. I mean, again, please learn these verbs by heart and have a chart of 10 verbs in a irregular group verb and try to learn them by heart. And the last endings that I'm going to give you of irregular verbs is as follows. I, is, I, ons, iz, ent. Now again, you follow the same pattern with ons, ez, and ent. But if you look at I, es, I, well, this is the same ending as when you conjugate a regular verb in the present tense. So this is the case for ouvrir, couvrir, to cover, and ouvrir, to open. Okay, so if I conjugate ouvrir, to open, and I want to say I open, then we apply the same endings as the fourth category I've just given you. So, j'ouvre, I open. Tu ouvres, you open. Il ouvre, he opens. Nous ouvrons, we open. Vous ouvrez, you open. And ils ouvrent, they open. As you can see, the stem can also change, okay? So it is best to learn these verbs by heart. Now, please refer to the various conjugation videos available on my channel to learn some of these verbs. Very important. But I think what we need to do now is practice this into sentences. So, are you ready, guys? And try to conjugate these verbs on your side, wherever you are. Okay, so here we go. I would like to show you a series of sentences, and I would like you to try, you ready, to conjugate these verbs. So we have here, numéro 1, les enfants, and the verb I would like you to conjugate is courir. Courir, have a look at that. Now, it's funny, I mentioned that earlier on, courir, and that means to run, to run. And though it has an IR ending, it is not a second verb, group verb, okay? So it's not a regular verb, such as the IR regular second group verbs. So you need to know this by heart. Now, we've got 4 different categories of endings in the irregular form in the present tense, and this one belongs to one of them, okay? In this case, because it is les enfants and the children represent this subject, if you were to replace les enfants by a subject pronoun, what subject pronoun would this be? Would it be je? Would it be tu? Would it be il or elle? Well, because it has les, we know it's a plural, so it has to belong to the category of the plural subject pronoun. Either nous, which is we, vous, which is you, il or elle with an S, which means they. Les enfants definitely belongs to the they category here. So they run. And where do they run? In the park. Dans le parc. Okay. But the question is, how do you say the children run in a park using this, but knowing that the ending is ENT for they? So it's quite simple. Take the stem of courir and add ENT. And there you have the children run in the park. Yeah? Are we okay? Can we carry on? Numéro 2. Tom et moi, and the verb we want to conjugate is prendre. Do you know what that means? Well done. It means to take, because we conjugated it earlier on. So they are taking what? Le train de 20 heures. They're taking the train, the 8 p.m. train. So, how do you say Tom et moi take? What would you do? Now, again, you've got to establish what is Tom et moi. Is it je? Is it tu? Is it il, elle, nous, vous, il, elle? Well, because Tom is with me, okay, and if we were to replace that by a subject pronoun, it would be we, okay? So Tom and I, knowing that we have we as a subject pronoun, what is the ending always of we? Yes, it is ONS. So now the difficulty you're going to have is what is the stem? Because it's such an irregular verb. What is the stem for prendre? Well, this one is very interesting. You drop DRE completely and you add just this, prendre, which means that Tom et moi prenons le train de 20 heures is what it should be. Okay? I know it's really hard, and again, you can do this exercise as I go along with me, but please, when you finish this exercise, have a list of the main irregular verbs with you, okay? Prendre is one of them. Vouloir, pouvoir, aller, faire, être, avoir, all these very highly irregular verbs, you should know at least how to conjugate them in the present tense. Numéro 3. Est-ce que vous, so it's a question, the verb we want is aller. Dîner chez Michel ce soir. Now, it's a question, okay, because it has est-ce que and it has a question mark. Vous and then aller is here in its infinitive form, but we want to know how to conjugate aller. Please learn aller in the present tense by heart. Now, we know that the subject is vous, so we know that it's going to be iz. But what is the stem of aller in that respect? It is just simply al. So, est-ce que vous allez? Do you go or are you going for dinner, to dine, at Michel's house? And by the way, whenever you see chez and then a name, it means at someone's house, okay? And when is it happening? This evening, ce soir. Numéro 4. Charlotte. And the verb is apprendre. Now, we know what that means. I've just mentioned it early on. It means to learn. Okay. Charlotte, the verb is apprendre l'anglais, English. So we want to say Charlotte is learning or Charlotte learns English. Now, remember that we are conjugating these verbs in the present tense. The ending for apprendre, okay, belongs to one of these endings that I'm showing you here in the screen, okay? But how do you think this one ends for Charlotte? Identify the subject pronoun first. Only when you have identified the subject pronoun will you be able to get the right ending. So, for Charlotte, the subject pronoun is elle, okay? Elle. And then knowing that, we know that from apprendre, the ending is just D, okay? Not S, D. So here we go. Charlotte apprend l'anglais, quite simply, okay? Charlotte is learning English. Numéro 5, cette machine, and the verb we want is permettre, permettre. And that means to allow, permettre, de travailler plus vite. Cette machine, this machine, allows us, and this is where you see nous. You might wonder, well, what is the nous for here? Okay, it's known as a complément d'objet direct. Okay, it's directly linked. It's not the subject. Okay, it's the subject is cette machine, but the complément is nous. This machine allows us, okay, to work faster, plus vite, faster. So, cette machine nous. What is the ending for permettre? It belongs to one of these 4 endings, okay, different endings that you have. It is going to be T only. And if you wonder why, it's because cette machine is actually elle replaced when you replace it by a subject pronoun, okay? So, cette machine nous permet de travailler plus vite. This machine allows her to work faster. Let's have a look at number 6. Number 6 is a tough one. The verb we want to conjugate is vouloir, which means to want. So let's have a look. Let me write to want. Okay. Now, I advise you to learn by heart vouloir in the present tense, as in I want, you want, he wants, and so on. Okay. Je veux, and this is the one that has an X at the end. Tu veux, il veut. And this is the one we want. It has a T here. So, je veux has an X, tu veux has an X, but il and elle and on has a T. So, veut with a T. Here, we are saying il ne veut pas, and it has a negation because we can see a ne before the verb and a pas after the verb. and the infinitive manger. Il ne veut pas manger. He does not want to eat. Okay? So again, vouloir, pouvoir, please learn, and devoir as well, though they are not conjugated with an X at the end for devoir, but please learn them by heart. Let's have a look at number 7, tu, and the verb is mettre. So we've just conjugated permettre, okay? You conjugate it the same way. So, tu, mettre means to put. It means to put on as well, as in je mets mon manteau. I'm putting on my coat. Here, tu, and then mettre, put trop de sucre, too much sugar sur le gâteau, on the cake. Okay, so you're putting too much sugar on the cake. So here again, we've got to select what is the endings appropriate for tu. It has to be an S, but how do you transform mettre, the infinitive, into its conjugated present tense? Tu mets, with an S. Okay, so tu mets trop de sucre sur le gâteau. You put too much sugar on the cake. Now let's have a look at 8, nous, and then the verb is vendre notre maison. Now la maison is a house. Okay, this is my beautiful drawing of a sad house. But nous, and then the verb we want to conjugate is vendre. Highly irregular because it has an RE ending in its infinitive form. But we know that for nous, the ending is always ONS. Very good. So here we go. It's all about finding the stem of that verb. In that case, it's pretty easy. It's vend, V-E-N-D, and then you add ONS. So nous vendons notre maison. We are selling, and that means to sell, as in to sell. How do you spell to sell, Adam? S-E-L-L?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, just checking. Nous vendons notre maison. We are selling our house. And here you've got the possessive adjective, which we might do a lesson on later on. Numéro 9, one of these hard verbs such as vouloir and pouvoir. To be able to or can, okay? Now we want to say je as in I can. How do you say I can in French? Well, it's one of these weird ones that end with an X. So, je veux, I can, okay. Sorry, je peux, correction. See, I'm mixing the vouloir and my pouvoir together. It's the same anyway, the ending. So, je peux, I can. Préparer le déjeuner. I can prepare, and here's an infinitive. I can do that, okay. Breakfast. I can prepare breakfast. No, lunch. Sorry, petit déjeuner is breakfast and déjeuner is lunch. Okay. And to finish, Alice et Luc, and the verb is offrir, des fleurs à leur mère. Alice et Luc, offrir means to offer or give as a present. So they want to give some flowers, okay? So it's plural here. À leur mère, to their, again, possessive adjectives here, to their mother. Okay, so how do you conjugate offrir in its present tense? Okay, it's though it has IR ending, it is not a second group, regular verb group. Oh, okay, it is a third group. So, because Alice et Luc are together, when you replace this by a subject pronoun, think, is it je? Is it tu? Is it il or elle? Is it nous or vous? Or is it il with an S or elle with an S? They. Well, it is definitely they. And in French, they is il or elle. In that case, Alice is a girl, Luc is a boy. So we've got to say il. If it had been two girls, elle. Okay, but here, Alice and a boy, okay, we have to say il. Okay, so Alice et Luc, we know that for il, the ending is always ENT. But what is the stem of that verb? Okay, so offrir, we drop IR, and we add this, offre. Okay, so Alice et Luc offrent des fleurs à leur mère. Okay, now that's it for my explanation on irregular verbs. Practice exercise practice. That's it for me. If you want the support guide for this lesson, well, hit the join button on my community on YouTube. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to Learn French with Alexa, my awesome YouTube channel. Super awesome. Leave a comment. Au revoir. À bientôt. Bisous, bisous.